Alright you lot, don't forget to give us a follow on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, and while you're at it, give us a 5-star rating. Trust me, it really does help us out.
Still, if I think about it, like, there's like Ruth Buscombe, who works for Alfa Romeo, who is kick ass. I love her so much. Yeah. We've got, obviously, Hannah Schmidt gets a lot of airtime, but again, Hannah Schmidt gets a lot of airtime.
Not for the best reasons as well, unfortunately.
I mean, she's absolutely outstanding at her job, and she deserves. That's
Twitter for you.
Exactly. But there is still a lot of that, and I think the other thing is the aggression towards women that are, like, you can see them operate. You know, there have been a few occasions where, you know, similar circumstances to Hannah that have happened to other friends of mine in the paddock, and that the aggression is not always. A lot of the aggression comes from being female first.
Yes.
Like, that's the aggression.
That's the entry point.
100%.
Yeah. Like, you know, most of the criticism that I receive, and I do feel lucky that I don't actually get too much, but when I do get it, it's like, stupid woman, like, what do you know?
Yeah.
And it's like, do you understand? Like, you don't know what you don't know what I've orchestrated behind the scenes. You don't know, like, what I've done. Okay, you don't agree with my opinion. I mean, I think that's the problem with social media as well. I'm sure you guys get it as well. Like, there's no nuance to having an argument on social media. Like, you can't.
People want to tell you how their perception of what you've said is the truth.
And it's so binary, right? Like, if you say I like this, it automatically means you don't like the other thing.
That is my least favourite thing about social media. I didn't even mention thing B in the tweet at all. But because I don't like, or because I like thing A doesn't mean I don't. It's so strange.
So you like Tesco meal deal, which means you hate Asda.
Yeah, it's like, no, lads. I mean, Tesco, please.
Tesco is the best. Tesco is kind of the best.
But no, genuinely, that is exactly how it is. It's so strange.
But no, because I'm not going to name who it was, but there was female, so I think she works for one of the F1 teams, and I remember there was a blow up about something she tweeted, and I remember going through, and like, we've all had stick, right? But like, looking through what people were saying, it's like the amount that were just focused on her gender, which obviously is a reflection of a broader, I think, issue in society as well. And it's just it's so sad that, like, this is the way things are, but I guess it's one of them where you've kind of got to make the best of it, right? And do what you can within the environment we're in.
100%. And just kind of know, like, you know, the thing that I always try and tell myself is, like, the worst people are the loudest.
Yeah,
like,
100%.
Like, I think we spoke about this on the podcast that I first did with you back when you were just like this tiny nobody.
I know, in my kitchen.
Yeah.
No.
Was that my number one rule for surviving in this space is, like, if anybody attacks you personally, they're in the bin.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Don't even give them a second thought. If there's anything that personally attacks the way you look or who you are, like who you are, or like what you are, bin. Because we can't have a conversation.
No,
and you're not looking for a conversation.
Yeah, they're just looking to hurt.
You're looking to be outraged at something, and that's. I feel sorry for you. Right. Genuinely, you need more in your life. Like, if you're gonna get that angry at somebody you don't know, that's just madness. But yeah, I'm just like that. I've always said, like, to people, just anybody that comes at you, attacks you personally, they get blocked, they get deleted. They don't get the privilege of being able to talk to you. Because I think that's a big thing.
Attention, isn't
people don't understand what a privilege it is that we get to have this much access to drivers and to personalities, and, like, to get to feel a part of the community. And, you know, most other communities have, like, code of conduct, right? If you can't play nice, you're out, right? I will boot you out of here. And I don't care if you think, well, it's free speech. No, it's not. People throw stuff like that as well all the time and go, like, well, you're just going to live in a vacuum of people that agree with you. I have no problem with people that disagree with me. But it's the way.
This is
the way that we're going to disagree, right?
Yeah. Quite literally, freedom of speech does not include hate speech.
No, exactly.
There's obviously a line, like, clearly. And again, I think it's one of them things that, you know, you've worked in social media for as long as you have. You must be quite well versed and have quite, both from a personal point of view, but also from a brand point of view, I suppose, when these things happen. Because, you know, unfortunately, it's the nature of the beast and the free. Look, I know this isn't a popular opinion, but I think Twitter, you should have to verify your ID if you're going to be on Twitter.
Yeah, there are personally, like, I think I did agree, but then you do have the problem of then big, massive data media corporations have your identification, which is a problem, as we kind of touched on before we came on the pod. Like how much information somebody has on you, the need to verify like who you are is slightly that I think there should be a way of being able to do it. It's just that I'm not smart enough to come up with the way myself.
Well, it's like I recently got verified on Twitter, and you just wanted to
throw that in
they,
there.
they did ask.
How did you?
There was no driver ID, there were license, any of that. I just had to be like, this is me, this is my YouTube, this is my Google Trends or whatever, and then they were like, I don't know. I just feel like, but again, it's kind of like, I know it's a completely different thing, but like the W Series example is one where the cons, there are clear pros and there's cons, and it's about kind of finding a middle ground. Because I don't know, I just think that, you know, the amount of hostility that is online, and especially, I mean, I think as we're on this subject, so let's kind of rewind briefly to Abu Dhabi 2021, because that was. That was a tough time to be part. Like there was a degree of like, I just felt a bit embarrassed for what happened on track. You can have your opinion on that, but I think that the way that things got so, not just with Abu Dhabi, just all of last year, and it just became this really feral. You had this 1 versus 1 environment, and it was like, I can imagine, like from your point of view as well, where you're working on multiple accounts. That was tough to like know, because you know whatever you say, you're gonna get slammed.
Heat for everything.
It was tough. And in fact, like after that, I think both, you know, Chris is a very well respected journalist.
He's the Fabrizio Romano of
I know.
Here we go.
He loves that. He loves that. I mean, he's a very humble person, but he's like, my God, if people are going to compare me to that, like, that's sweet. Okay, here we go. Literally. But like he tweets all the time, and he always thinks, you know, he doesn't get paid to tweet. He's a freelance journalist, so he doesn't get paid by a business to tweet. He is doing it to inform people and to give people a better idea of what's going on in real time. And obviously he tweeted as much as he could around that, and then the heat that he got off the back of it, we both went into hibernation over Christmas. Right, one, because the schedule last year was mad, but yeah, we were just like, anything he would tweet, someone would be like coming at him. And it would be over like crazy things. Like, so I think he said, I mean, maybe this was slightly inflammatory, but I think there was a Tottenham game not long after, where Harry Kane got a red card.
Right.
And it was kind of like dubious. It was like, was that really a red card?
Yeah.
And I think he tweeted something like, oh, good to know it's not just F1 that makes dubious refereeing decisions.
Good tweet for what it's worth.
Mistake, like genuine, like and the amount of hate and heat that he got off that, and it was people basically saying like, how dare you have a moment away from F1? You are clearly being paid by F1 and the FIA.
Oh, clearly.
Like you haven't done anything to combat what happened. He was like, are you joking? So he literally got all of the articles he wrote post Abu Dhabi, and there were tons of them.
Yeah.
And he posted them link by link, and he was like, what haven't I done? And they're like, well, I didn't read all of them.
You didn't headbutt Michael Massey.
Right? Are you just like, honestly? It was as if we had the power to revolt and make things change, which, you know, maybe people would still feel like we could have, but I don't think, like, you know, the media was pretty clear in the fact that it was like, this was a like absolute farce.
Total fuck up.
Absolute, like,
of all the media coverage that I saw, I think that was the general consensus.
At
no point did I go, oh yeah, you know.
No one went like, you know, we got heat for writing an open letter to Max Verstappen before the race.
I remember that.
Do you remember that?
Yeah. I remember
that was fun.
That didn't go down well.
No, but you know, like, you know, it's like no one ever came out and said this was totally fine, really all right. And you know, I think people misunderstand as well, like what the job of the media is to do. And yes, we do apply pressure. Like we do go out and go, that's not right, this needs to change, or how can you say this, or how can you do this when the rules state this? Like journalists are here to keep the bodies and powers that be in check. But you know, there was not really much that we could have done from that point other than keep pushing them to investigate, and keep pushing them to make sure that never happened again. But even if they'd overturned the result, no one would have won. No one would have I don't think we would have ever been satisfied, because Max fans quite rightly would have been upset because
Max didn't do anything wrong.
He didn't do anything wrong.
They were both deserving champions that year.
Yeah.
They had an incredible battle, and for any of it, for Max to have an asterisk after his name, I mean, he's obviously going to win this year, but to have an asterisk next to your name over your first championship, not that I don't think he really cares, but he doesn't deserve that. And neither did Lewis deserve to lose like that. So I don't think we'd have ever, other than let's just do the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix again.
It was such a perfect storm, wasn't it? Like so many moments last year, even like Monza, when they just one has a 7-second pit stop, one has an 11-second pit stop, and they just happened to come
meet
together
at the same.
How?
It was genuinely you couldn't have written a movie. You could not. I have no doubt they will do a movie on that year.
Oh yeah.
1,000.
Yeah.
I think the precise moment they have to film a movie at was when they arrived at Abu Dhabi on the same amount of points.
And the most points ever. The most points ever awarded in Formula One that last year, right? Because you had the extra point for fastest lap, and you got 22 races, and they still
and we had
come on the
sprints,
same.
and all that kind of thing. It was everything that went on that year was just what in the hell? And the fact we're still talking about it now.
Yeah,
I mean, partly because we don't have
it's a Senna Prost moment, though, isn't
this
it?
season, but
yeah, true.
Right,
Yeah.
So we're holding on to
what
had been,
and especially because I think Mercedes aren't in the fight this year, and I think that kind of, because I think rightfully, if I was a Lewis fan, I would feel like you've been stiffed over from your 8-4 title, and now
you're
don't have a car to compete.
Machinery,
so I completely get it. But again, this is like a Senna Prost moment. But